you start moving on this journey, there are things you're going to come up with, like, say, for instance, your big thing is dairy, you like ice cream or whatever. You'll come across those situations and circumstances, whether you're out at your favorite restaurant or you're out at, a family member's gathering. You're going to have to make decisions as to, am I going to have this item, or am I going to have just a little bit of this item, or am I going to balance it out with a salad or whatever? But your big why is what helps drive you forward in those difficult places so that you're not tempted to quit.
That's really great. Because I always say there's always going to be a baby shower, a wedding,
Yes.
a friend that's going to ask you to go to dinner,
Yes.
a date or whatever. You're always going to be approached with an opportunity to make a decision. And if you reserve, on weekends, if you say those are my quote unquote cheat days, I would say, are you less valuable on the weekend than you are during the week? So we are in a constant decision. And when you, like you said, when you understand why and your value has got to be so much greater, right? Your energy has got to be so protected. And I think about the things that we protect in our lives, our children. Are we always thinking about our children and protect them out? Do you ever sometimes think, well, I don't care that they don't have a hat on today, or you know what I mean? You're always thinking, so why not always be conscious about our lives, right?
Right.
So awesome. So let's go on. I want to go on and really into the steps. You speak of steps. What is the step that you love the most in your book? What's one that you're just like, if anybody can get this step,
I really, going back to, I know I'm going to ride it here a little bit, but I really think the mindset is key. When I look back over the years, those who...
If you guys are in there, I'm hearing some feedback. We want to really make sure that everybody's getting the information here, and we honor the time of our speakers. So if your phone is, or if you're not on mute, please just simply mute. You can see the mute there, and we can take care of that back now. Thank you. All right, please finish.
Just the mindset, when I look back over the years of, the high numbers of people who finish the program, usually the difference between those that finish and get to the finish line and those who do not are the mindset. What is your driver to get you through those hard places? For those of us who've gotten out of shape or maybe not feel our best, we have to realize it's been a consistent line of decisions that we've made on a day-to-day basis that have caused us to gain weight, that have caused us to get into maybe a situation where the doctor is recommending medication or whatever it is. And so as we decide to back out of that direction and kind of reprogram ourselves, we have to realize it is a series of decisions that we're making on a day-by-day basis. Sometimes for most of us, it's that one or two meals during the week that, we went out with friends or whatnot, and we knew I'm kind of a little bit over the line today. And instead of feeling bad about it, instead of making some decisions to bring ourselves back in line or researching what we need to do to bring us back in line, then we start to feel down and then, get in this pity party mentality. And so we start making additional bad decisions that culminate moving us in the direction that we don't want to be. So I think understanding, having that big why, what is your driver, and then realize that it's a journey. It is not, I think sustained health is about being open to learn for the rest of your life, because how my body felt and my needs back when I was in my 40s is very different from now. And so beginning to learn my body, how I feel when I'm training for a race as opposed to how I feel in the off season when it's, November to December, and it's the holiday season, and what adjustments and what decisions do I need to make during those time frames are very key to help me overall keep moving toward reaching the goal of maximized sense of health and well-being. So I think it's a mindset is super key. I know a lot of things are advertised about, oh, you can lose weight, da, 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 but it's like if you lose the weight in 6 weeks, 10 weeks, etc., but you still have a mind that wants to eat fried food and is eating more bread than you know you should have, and not having salads on a regular basis, and not having live foods that beget living activities in your body, then you're going to go back to where you are, because as a man thinketh, that's what you're going to become. So it's a process of renewing the mind and changing the thinking, and that I think long term helps you move in the direction you want to go.
I think that's great, and I love that you said there's different dimensions of, like, as far as your thinking as it relates to your age.
Yes.
And when I have clients that are in a menopausal state, for women or guys, I think they have their own menopause, right? They probably heard that term before too as well. But your body's gonna retain and hold weight, and it's gonna be definitely different. And you mentioned also the mindset. I think that it has a lot to do with the joy behind the process, and that's where it comes to the positive expectation, because if you are just so overwhelmed with it, and if it becomes a chore more than something that you're enjoying, then you're going to hold on to the weight, because in everything that we do, Claire, you got to make sure that you're doing it with like Thanksgiving too, and gratefulness, because guys, we get to take care of our body. We are blessed to take care of our body. So when we understand that, when that trumps the other stuff, and then two, it doesn't have to be a chore, because this is so much fun. And I know, Darnell, you have actually seen people begin to enjoy running. Do you have someone or a testimony that you can share about that?
Enjoy. There's so many. So many. Oh my goodness. How can you settle on one?
Right.
I've had quite a few athletes who in the beginning were just really, even though they signed up for the program, the willingness to begin to embrace the new habits was they were a little bit resistant. But we've had a ton of athletes after they just begin to embrace, like, okay, let me try some of these things out and keep going forward. We've had folks that once they finished the program, they've started businesses, they've started ministries, their relationship with their children went up to a whole new level. Their relationship with their relatives began to change because they started to inspire people in their family. And so now people in their family started to look at their health and wellness different. It's almost like when you finally face a giant and stand there flat-footed and use God's strategy to overcome, you begin to start thinking, okay, well, I overcame something that I thought would never be different in my life. What other things are there that God is telling me to do that if I were to follow his step-by-step process, would I be able to overcome in those areas? And that's huge. It's not just the training, but it empowers you to be able to do things better. One story that does come up, we had a athlete that came to us a long time ago. She was looking forward to training for the marathon, but the year before, her bucket list trip was to go to see the pyramids. And so, she went over, and the trip had a lot of walking to it. Well, one of her lifelong dreams was to be able to take this particular tour, but because she was out of shape, she was not able to complete the tour. And that's how she came to us. And so all of us have a direction, a gift, an ability that God has placed within us that impacts not only our family here intimately, but can begin to impact our communities, our cities, our nations, and the world. But a lot of times those things are hindered because our preparation to get into that spot is not supportive of the direction that we want to go.
Wow. Not supportive of the death. You know what? What you just said though is very important. If everyone can really understand this because it's really big on what I feel too. It's when you began to discipline yourself, it does spill over into the different areas of your life. So this is so much larger than the physical thing. And I definitely have seen people become nurses, or they leave and they actually become trainers, and they want to take on this and run with it themselves. So it's great, and that's why, guys, if you are open to this journey, it's something you felt a nudge in your spirit for something that's totally bigger than what you even realize. It's for a greater purpose. So the big key is invitation, showing up. And wouldn't you say, Darnell, that the people that have really gotten the marathons, like I'm sure you've had older, people at different stages of their life, overweight, actually finish a 26 miles.
Yes.
Now, for me, I like to stick with the 5Ks, but because
that's what you're saying now, Coach Tangi. That's what you're saying now.
So right, I'm sure I gotta do one. And
reeling them in slowly. No, just kidding. I
know it's great. No, I definitely have a lot of just admiration for those who complete that journey. But for those that do, I know that you said there's a certain stick-to-itness, and there is that mindset that I want to really delve into mindset because we've heard it, and everybody, it's so cliche, if you think right, but there has to be action behind the thought.
Right.
Because we have to see it first.
Right.
We have to believe it, and that's one of the things that you talk about in this book too, like writing the vision, making it plain, and putting it on the wall. And those who have been with me know that I love a vision board, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking about vision into manifestation. So that mindset, I know you talked about the vision board too, as well, writing it down, seeing yourself where you want to be. And you said have the end already in mind before the beginning. Let's talk about
that. It's key. Even for the title of the book, Exercise Your Faith. Exercise, the whole concept of exercise is inertia. It's doing something. It's activating something. And I know, we hear the concept of faith quite a bit. Faith is really our belief system, what we believe to the point of taking action. And so, in the whole course of training or on this health journey, we really don't believe it until we're motivated enough to take action on a day-by-day basis. In the face of, for example, a few days ago, it wasn't the warmest here in Chicago, but I hadn't been out for a little bit because it'd been super cold. And that morning, I just felt like getting out. But the whole process of being healthy has been, even when you look at the obstacles, because my overall goal is to stay healthy in spite of the obstacles, when you have it written down that this is the direction that you are going to stick to, those creative ideas start coming up. Instead of thinking, well, this is why I can't do it, those ideas start coming up, well, why can't I do it? Well, if I did it like this, maybe I can achieve it. A lot of times I tell my clients, depending on where you are in life, sometimes you have more time. Maybe if your children are grown, maybe you have more time to work out. But if you have younger children, you have more responsibilities. And so allowing yourself to think creatively about this wellness journey. Maybe you can't do a whole hour by itself at one time, but maybe you could do 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening, or maybe you could do, 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at lunch. Once you have those goals written down, it starts that momentum going of thinking of ways, how do I make decisions and do things that are going to help me get one step closer to reaching this goal that I'm looking to move toward.
That's great. That's great. I want to even talk about that too, because this week the focus is progression, and yes. I've always said that it's important to progress safely. And some people just jump in, the deep way too soon. There's these workouts like insanity workouts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's called insanity for a reason. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. And I like to say same here. But what can happen is people can injure themselves, and then they are out for the count. So you got to look at this as a progressive journey and taking these baby steps, because it isn't where you start out. I once had this one client of mine. She had lymphedema, and when she met with me, she could only do less than 5 minutes on the treadmill. Then she would have to go home and elevate her feet because they were bleed. So only being able to walk for 5 minutes and then to go for hours and elevate your feet. But you know what? She had stick-to-itness. And next thing you know, she was speed walking on that treadmill for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Her ankles and all the swelling and all those things go down. So if you could really understand that you take it in these little bite-sized pieces, and with this week, and that's why I just thought it would be so great to have you. First of all, what you say is so important, and what a great book, but even as it pertains to how you're able to start out with your journey of exercise.
Yes.
And those bite-sized pieces. So even where it pertains to running and walking, I know not everybody has a treadmill. And one of the things I'll say about the treadmill is that I love it because it keeps you accountable to time and speed. Because we know that when we're outside, if we get a little tired, we're going to stop. Or I call it honeydew walk. If people are having a honeydew walk, they're going to be holding hands. You're going to slow down. Or if you're having a dog walk. But a treadmill really does keep you accountable. I know a lot of people have it in their homes, or you can do it outside. And I know you have those mile markers, but the key is now starting, and if you never go back. So if you do 10 minutes one day, don't go back to 5 the next, If we can talk about that progression, and for you all, what the General Darnell is talking about is having those progressive steps that you take, and you have to write it down, right? What would you say to them, someone who's wanting to run, which we will? We're going to do a virtual 5K at the end of this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. So what would you say to someone who has not or cannot run or even speed walk at a pace that is challenging for 45 minutes to an hour?
Well, I think not to be intimidated, because we all start there. When I started out, again, I was last to be chosen on the playground. And so when I started out, I was only doing a couple blocks. But, I liked the outdoors. I liked, being, in nature, or seeing things going on. And so for me, initially, it was just, being out and seeing things, or the treadmill, and wanting to have a different life story than what some of my family members were dealing with. Even when we train people for the marathon, and even though I've done like 60 some odd races, I'll be doing my 20th Chicago Marathon this year. When I start training, even though last year I did 26.2 miles, when I go out to start training this year, my first workout is not going to be doing 20 miles. I have to allow, if you've been inactive and then you start becoming active, it could take 4 to 6 weeks just for your body to begin to acclimate to this new activity. And so you want it to slowly begin to acclimate so that it's able to do that comfortably and you're able to maintain momentum. When we get our athletes out there, I think our first time out, we may only do maybe 15, 30 minutes. And then progressively over the weeks and months, we begin to build on that. So understanding that, it is and if you take a break, it's all about momentum. If you take a break for whatever reason, then realize now you have to restart your momentum. So maybe you got up to being able to do 2.5, 3 miles, and then for some reason you allowed, yourself to fall off for a couple months. When you start back up, you may not be able to go right back out and go to 2.5 miles. You may have to start back at the beginning, and that's okay. I know for me, I wanted to be able to do this well into old age, and I have a lot of friends and athletes who started out with me on this, and they were big on, I just want to go at it, and I want to have these fast times, and I want to, do this, that, and the other. And because that wasn't an issue for me, some other people who are no longer able to run because of injury or overdoing it, I haven't had an Olympic finish time, but at the same time, I'm excited. One of my goals was to always finish and not be injured and feel good and be able to enjoy myself and my family after a race. So since that was one of my goals on my vision board, I don't have to compare myself with my neighbor when I'm out there, or I don't have to compare myself with my coworkers or my family members. These written goals that I have on my vision board are who I am and what's important to me. And so it helps me focus. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's how to focus on those long-term goals and keep the distractions, those short-term distractions, from coming in and derailing the progress.
I love that. I love that you said it's about you. And in this journey, I see some people who really taking the bull by the horn, and they're out there, they're doing it, they're participating, they're showing up. And someone else may tell me, I feel so behind. I feel so behind in the journey. And it's the 5th week, and everybody, starts and stops, at their doing it at their own pace. Because if you continue to compare yourself, even upon a journey, then you won't get there. So who was it, Michael Phelps, when there's a picture that's so classic, and he's in that swimming pool, and the other guy is watching him, but he is looking, straight ahead. His eyes aren't even on that person who's right next to him. And what happens? He wins the race, right? Yeah. So when we really stay focused and focus on really our journey and our energy, because everybody is responsible for their own energy. Right. And, so thank you for sharing that.
That made me think, if I can interject really quick, another story. I learned early in my marathon running, I think it was either my 2nd or 3rd marathon. I was out there, and I was in probably, my mid-30s or whatever. And there was a young guy, probably no older than 25, who was kind of pacing me. So he's, up alongside me, trying to get me to go faster, so that would help drag him to go faster. And so, at first I'm paying attention to this guy, and it's making me think, oh, you should go faster, to kind of keep going, to throw this guy off the trail. And we went along until we got to probably in the 20s, probably mile 22. And I let the guy go ahead of me. I'm like, he is much younger than me. I'm going to let him do his thing. So I caught up to him in mile 22. 25-year-old had pulled over, bent over, winded, just really had to take a break. And so then when he saw me, he stood up and he pulled out and he went again. And I'll never forget it. At mile 23, once I reached there, the same young guy had to pull over. The EMTs were working with him, and they had to drive him in the ambulance to the finish line. And so I learned at that point The race, it's running your own race. Anytime you start taking your eyes off, and this goes back to purpose, anytime we start taking our eyes off of the specific race that God has us for, we're guaranteed to get derailed in some place. And so now I've learned over the years, like, it doesn't matter where you start. It really matters where you finish, and having those goals down and being clear about where it is that you're supposed to go, and not paying attention to what's going on with your neighbor, I think is what helps each one of us be able to finish our race strong, whatever that race is that we're in.
Thank you for that. Awesome, awesome. Well, let's get into you guys. These are great, powerful nuggets, and I trust that it's soaking into your open heart and spirit. I want to talk about just some things to even sustain while running, what we deposit in. I know we spoke about the mindset. We definitely know that we have to understand the link between the spiritual rather, that spiritual connection, which you all know that I'm really huge on that, and also what we put in, and the carbs, the protein, like drinks, and the water. I know we don't get all that we need even from water alone. Let's touch a little bit on a little bit of that. I don't want to get too deep into it because, guys, I want you to get your own book. It's called Exercise Your Faith, 10 Steps to Help You Finish Your Race Strong. You guys, what a dynamic book, and you guys what a treat to hear from someone who has really changed so many different lives. So again, Darnell Williams, you guys see the link there on the page. So let's talk about just a little, what's your favorite recipe, smoothie, whatever, if any tidbits you want, you can go whatever direction you want to give toward like sustaining energy, right?
Yeah, right.
Sustaining energy, because that's going to be huge for those that are, I know, shout out to someone, Tasha Brown in the challenge. She said, Tangi, I said, did you do 30 minutes on the trip? No, I did an hour. Well, great,
Wow.
Sustaining energy. I love to give people tips on that.
I think it's really keyed, and you mentioned this way back at the beginning, about making it fun, even nutrition-wise. Like for my smoothie, I like variety. And so usually when I make a smoothie in the morning, I'm doing an organic pear or an organic apple, maybe half a banana. I showed you the almond milk that I use, the unsweetened vanilla. But particularly when I have, and I've not only incorporated this for workouts, but even during the work day, if I know I'm having a particularly long day where I may not be able to sit down and have just a relaxing meal all during the day, I'm kind of on the go, then, I have some dates that I put in my smoothie. I do some almond butter, and then I also do plant-based protein powder mix, and then I do I mix that together first, get that really smooth, and then do some frozen berries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. And so that is my go-to start of the day meal. For a lot of people I know, just because there's a lot of things going on in the morning, it's very easy to think, oh, I want to skip breakfast. But if you look at that word, breaking the fast, our bodies operate by cycles. And so if we can get our bodies satisfied in the morning, it helps our brains get up and running by having a nice, healthy breakfast. That'll keep us from being more tempted as we go into our day to have those unhealthy snacks, because we really haven't given our bodies what we need in the morning. And so now it's craving what's convenient. Because the other thing you'll discover as you're on this health journey, again, it takes some focus and some big why, because you have to plan to make this work. On every corner there is fast food in America. It's very easy to get junk food, but you have to begin to think strategically when you're looking to be healthy. Okay, what does my day look like? Where are some places near where I'm going to be working or having my activities that I can get healthy choices? You know, when I go to the grocery store, how can I buy some healthy snacks so I have along with me so that if the day gets busy, I have something in my pocket or my bag that I can reach that'll help keep me from making a bad decision over the course of the day. So it really, and for me, sometimes that's the fun part, really thinking of, you know, cool things to look forward to eat during the day that are fun, that have great texture. And I think we also discover as we eat more holistic foods, more natural foods, that they begin to interact with our body and begin to tell us, hey, I'm satisfied. Hey, you have enough protein here. You know, you have enough carbs there. Your body begins to signal you, you know, when you begin to drink more water, and then for some reason, if you start backing off, now because our bodies are in that natural state, you'll notice that your body begins to signal you, hey, I'm a little bit dehydrated. And water, you know, we're more than 60% water. So it begins to affect how our brains think, how sharp we are, how our lungs are working, how our hearts are functioning. And so really thinking strategically, how can I make good decisions? And then we get in situations, for instance, I went to my mother-in-law's birthday celebration today. I was thinking strategically, since we went out to a restaurant, okay, how can I keep this healthy without getting, and celebrate, you know, without getting too far off course? And so making the decision like, okay, they have a black bean burger, I'm going to have that, but they're serving it with cheese, which probably is not the best choice for me. So I asked them not to put the cheese on it, and it came with fries. But because I asked the waiter, do you have any other options with sides? Instead of having the French fries, I had sauteed spinach. But a little bit on the cheap side, my mother-in-law didn't want to eat all of her key lime pie, and so the area that I'm still working on is dessert. So I had half of the key lime pie. But being aware of the decisions that I'm making, and then deciding after that, okay, now that you've had the key lime pie, and come to think of it, they had great cornbread there. Now that you had a little cornbread, your next meal, you can't have key lime pie and cornbread. There's some other decisions you need to make to keep yourself in line to reach your goals.
That's so great. I'm going to, it's getting so great and so good. Thank you so much. I want to let anybody chime in. Does anyone have a question at all? I know we're nearing the time. I would love for you to chime in, a question or a comment, something that has been stirring within you. Now is the time.
Hi, this is Lisa Marsh. How are you guys?
How are you, Lisa?
I'm doing well. Now, I did what Tangi said, and I went through the cabinet, and I looked at all those items in my cabinets that's got the high fructose corn syrup, such as the barbecue sauce and the ketchup and things like that. But when I'm out and have to grab something quickly and want some, like today, I grabbed a grilled chicken, and since I'm gluten-free, I didn't have the bun. I had lettuce and tomatoes. But I felt like something was missing. I will say that I had a few French fries. I'm trying to stop that. But being gluten-free and not having bread sometimes to fill up, I have to, grab some stuff. But I'm trying to work on that, guys. So keep me in prayer. So,
we've all been there.
So what kind of sauces are better for you when you don't want to have the high fructose corn syrup, when you don't want to have the excess sugars? Now, I did ask for mustard, and today I was just brave and said, to heck with it, I'll just eat it like this with just the salt and pepper.
Okay.
So what kind of sauces are better for us?
You want me to take that one?
The thing that's helped me out, getting away from some of the processed or the sweet items and really reintroducing myself to all natural spices. Because I think all of us like that variety. No one likes to eat something that's just plain, but always thinking of substitutions like, for can you put avocado on there? Is there something else that you can put on there that makes it taste a little bit more creative as opposed to something that's processed?
Right.
And not being afraid to ask at the places that we go to, what other options do they have there that you can switch up to put on your item to make it a little bit more palatable for you. It's super key.
The chef, one of the things I'll do, I'll say, do you have some, they'll take olive oil, they'll take some balsamic, I'll ask them to have some balsamic back there, and some sesame seeds, you know what I mean? Like, you can really create your own type of dressing, and even when I go and I get something like a salmon, I know I saw someone, she had a salmon that she toasted, and it was smothered in some type of a gravy, right? So what I'll say, hey, instead of cooking my salmon with butter, can you cook it with a little olive oil? Can you put a little bit of, a lot of times they can do the cedar plank, like smoke it, like, you know what I mean? You can use like a smoke, and it's like so yum, and you don't have to have the barbecue sauce and all that other stuff. And make sure that you ask, Lisa, this is such a great question, because even the marinades, guys, like you can get a marinated piece of chicken or salmon, and it could be 2,500 to 3,000 milligrams of sodium, So you really have to ask these questions. What do you marinate that in? What are you cooking my food in? Because, guys, these restaurant owners, they're not going to tell you, but those packets, like the packets that you get, the ketchup packets, they're going to have the number one ingredient is going to be high fructose corn syrup. And I know they have the organic or little sauce or ketchup right now that's no high fructose corn syrup you can get from Walmart. I know, just like, you may have to carry the things in your bag. You know what I mean? And maybe, because these are the things you have to have at your fingertips. I know there's someone who kind of brings her own little sweetener when she has it in her bag, because quite frankly, you're not going to be able to go to a place that has that chicken sandwich. You're not going to have it at their fingertips where they're going to be able to create or make that, unless you're going somewhere a little fancier. Because I've been able to ask, well, do you have some dill back there? Can you make my salmon, can you make this with some fresh dill, or can you make this with that? And the waiters, people come up, they're like, man, that is so creative. Yes, we have that. Yes, the chef said he has this and that. So you just have to kind of even your salad dressings. I do my own combination. May I get a little olive oil? May I get a little balsamic vinegar? May I get some lemon? May I get some pure maple syrup? You know what I mean? Like you're just mixing your own dressing, or they will do it in the back for you. So, Lisa, this is something that, like even Darnell said too, the avocado that you can mix on there, even instead of the cheese, like Darnell said on his Black Bean Burger, may I have some avocado instead? And then, the aioli sauces that they put on there, you really have to look and say, may I not have the aioli sauce or the mayonnaise? Instead of that, what do you have as a vegan option?
Right. It's really that process of reading labels, like when we're in the grocery store, making it a natural habit to always, because the temptation could be, I got to get all this stuff and I got to get to the next event, and it's important that we're knowledgeable about what should be in our food, and reading the labels when we're out at the groceries. And the same way when we're out at restaurants, the menu is the label. So looking at, okay, this is the particular burger that you're serving me. These are the things that you're putting in. And then us being a partner in our health, where we're evaluating, okay, that particular item I don't necessarily need. Maybe I can see if I can swap that out or leave this off. Again, because we have personal goals for our own race, how do I work with how God made my body to make decisions that will keep moving me forward? And again, it's our responsibility, because if we don't say anything, we don't stick up for ourselves. Most places are not. That is not their priority.
That's right. Their priority is to keep you coming back. A chef, we just want to make food that tastes good. We don't care about the nutrition facts. That's why they don't have it on
Right.
on the menu. Anybody else?
That's
Any other
very
questions?
true.
Any other questions?
I also thought with the burger, I know Tangi mentioned earlier about adding a salad. I'm a really big fan of, and known for doing what I call it like a kitchen sink salad. I like a lot of different flavors. I like to be able to taste the variety of flavors in my food. So typically when I'm making a salad, I know when I first started this health journey, I thought all the salad was some cucumbers, some tomato, and some lettuce. And I've kind of gone, from that aspect. Now when I go and I make a salad, I'm looking for as many different ingredients as possible. So I get a variety of taste, a variety of satisfaction. So feel full and satiated, after I have my meal. I could put everything from almond slivers in the salad to, raisins or dried cranberries or, I want some broccoli in there because that kind of keeps down the colds, or I like crunchy, so I'll put some, bell pepper, red, green, and yellow. I like the variety of color. So again, just allowing yourself to be creative and have fun with it, it makes it, I think, a little bit easier to stick with a plan and not being afraid to speak up and ask questions.
Yes, and real quick then, about your burger, one of the things you can do, instead of iceberg lettuce, may I have some spinach on my burger? May I have some red onion? May I have some, you got to beef that burger up. You like too. You can have salad on a bun. So the whole key is, what can I continuously add that is life? So wonderful, wonderful. I know I want to honor everybody's time, especially that of our speaker. You've been awesome. Can you please tell everybody how they can get your book?
You can get a copy of Exercise Your Faith at generaldarnell.com. If you want a signed copy, you can go on the website. If you want an e-copy, you can pick it up at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, and at BookBaby. But I think it's a phenomenal, whether you're looking to run long distance or not, all of us are in this race called life, and really understanding that it's a step-by-step process. And, just like today, I may have gotten a little bit off the race having my key lime pie. Having an understanding of what I need to do to get back on the horse and get back in the race provides me the empowerment to long-term reach my health and goals. Because there's a purpose, there's a plan that God has for all of us. And we want to cooperate with the plan where we can, instead of making it unnecessarily difficult for ourselves.
Yes. Awesome, awesome. Thank you once again for sharing your wisdom tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and thank you for your stick-to-itness. Thank you for taking care of yourself. And when we show up, we bless someone else. So thank you for your energy tonight, virtually, and may God continue to give you guys wisdom on how to be the best, and may God continue to bless your family, you, General Darnell, as you go and as you carry this message too, and God continue to open up those doors. So you guys get Exercise Your Faith, 10 steps to help you finish strong. He's got lots of tips in there, from nutrition to mindset, a lot of good stuff, and it's a great, easy read. So go ahead and get the book, and I will see you guys in the Circle of Strength very soon.
Thank you, guys. Be well.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Hello. Just getting off of the conference call. Yeah, I did a call with the people who are, online, and had a speaker who a full book, and that was cool. So, really, cool. It's very cool. Yeah. So how are you? How's it going? Amen. Good. Yes, I hear that. Yes, yes, yes. Well, very, very, very cool. So with the online, I got mainly girls in the challenge. So you know how we talked about doing the videos. Just FYI, that's kind of why I didn't follow up about that because we only have like 2 guys, but there's like mainly, which usually is kind of how it is, kind of a little bit of my niche anyway. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, but I definitely am like, man, you gotta. I just been even thinking a lot about the curriculum, you know, and just maybe, you know, I have a lot of stuff already down, you know, and maybe sharing that. I don't know if you've given that any more thought, you know, but I definitely think that it could be something cool, you know.